and never give up.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Storytime, here in the vault with me, G-Star. As always, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss any channel content in the future. Today's story time, we return to the spirit world. This story comes from an author by the name of Roy Baton, author of books like The Mammoth Book of Unexplained Phenomena. This is the real story of a guardian angel who impacted Roy and his whole family. This is the story of Nana's spirit. Is there a spirit world? I half believe there is. I have had some odd experiences that have nudged me in the direction of belief, yet not over the threshold. My mother died at the age of 58 in January 1973 due to complications from a strangulated umbilical hernia. It was a family tragedy that occurred on a dark, icy night not long after Christmas 1972. My son, Martin, was conceived shortly after my mother's death and was born on the 24th of November 1973. My grandfather, Karl Kohler, who died in 1948, was a German. His favourite Christmas carol was the Austrian classic Silent Night. It was one carol which always brought my mother to tears on Christmas Eve. As soon as I hear it, each Yuletide, I can feel my mother's presence. But when Martin was 5 years old, on Christmas Eve 1978, as we were getting him ready for bed, excited and happy preparing for Santa's visit, he was standing by the radio when Silent Night came on. He stared at the radio and his chirpy mood changed. He was in tears. I asked him what was wrong. He pointed at the radio. "That song, Daddy, making me cry." I felt a tingle. I like to think that although he'd never met his Nana, there was a connection. Or am I just being melodramatic? Some years later, our daughter, Sarah, who was just 7 years old when my mother passed on and had spent so many happy hours with her, visited a clairvoyant for a reading. The clairvoyant wasn't one of those cross my palm with silver, cash on delivery types. She was an ordinary housewife with the gift who lived on a rundown council estate in Grimsby, Lincolnshire. One of the things she told Sarah was that her departed grandmother was her guide, protecting her, and she was offering advice. Sarah was working as a nurse and had remained in Grimsby while the rest of us had moved house to Mansfield in Nottinghamshire. Sarah had moved in with her boyfriend at the time. It had been a bad idea, and without prompting, the clairvoyant seemed to know all about it. She told Sarah that the guiding spirit suggested that this relationship was not going to work, and that eventually she would move away and meet another man who would become the love of her life. She was right. A few weeks later, after several months of trying to live with her boyfriend, things reached an impasse and Sarah became desperate. She missed us all and phoned me. I went to see her and told her that she could leave Grimsby and come and live with us. And that's what she did. Not long after arriving here and finding a new nursing job, she met our current son-in-law, Ivan. After a long engagement, they married in 2005. He's not only the love of Sarah's life, but loved by us all. Does this prove anything? Was it a lucky guesswork? I don't know, but it feels right. Sarah has always been what we think as a psychic. When she was in her early teens, we were invited by one of my friends to stay for a weekend in a decommissioned old public house in Herefordshire. My wife and I were offered one bedroom, and Sarah and Martin were given one at the end of a short corridor on the first floor. Sarah came to us during that night and said she couldn't stay in the room and that Martin wasn't happy there either. She said it had a cold atmosphere and that there was something weird about it. We discovered a few weeks later that there had been a double murder in the building and that the bodies had been found in that very room. Lingering spirits, tortured souls. Again, I don't know. But when we moved to our current home in 1987, I had Sarah check it out first. This had been a happy house, was her assessment. So far, that's true. One final brush with the beyond happened to me one night in 2008 when the whole family were gathered around the table for dinner. The conversation eventually got round to memories of my mother. Ah, if only she had lived longer, I said. At that point, I turned around abruptly. I distinctly felt what could only be a hand on my right shoulder, the fingers, if that's what they were, giving me an affectionate grip. There was no one on either side or behind me, and Sarah just said, "It's all right, Dad, it's just Nana joining in." So with these events, either real spiritual connections or simply family sentimentality, they're permanently etched in my memory. The memory of my mum and the spirit of my children's Nana. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Story Time, and that it just goes to show us all that not all spirits must be scary. In fact, some are just full of love and are guardians on our journey through life. Thanks for watching. Join us next time here in the vault for another episode of Story Time. For now, look after each other and stay safe. Good night.